Hi there, Chris from TotallyEV, and here I'm doing a dedicated audio review of the Vauxhall Grandland Electric. If you want a detailed review of the vehicle itself, make sure you check it up on your pop-up banner or by following the links down in the description below or the pinned comments. Now, to kick things off, we have to talk about its audio configuration. And as standard in the design and the GS trims, you've got a 6-speaker setup. To be more specific, within the front door triangles, you have got a 1-inch tweeter. Then you have got 6.5-inch woofers that are found within the front doors. And then you have got 6.5-inch wideband speakers that are found in the rear doors. Now, if you go for the Ultimate trim, which is on review, you'll have a 10-speaker Vauxhall audio system, which is touted to have 460 watts of power output, although this has got a 12-way 690 watt amplification thanks to Class D technology. Now, in terms of its audio configuration, you have got a 2.5-inch mid-range polyglass cone center driver, a 1-inch 15-watt TNF inverter dome tweeter within the mirror triangles, 6.5-inch 50-watt mid-low polyglass cone woofers within the front doors, and then you have got the same within the rear doors, including a 1-inch 20-watt tweeter. Then, to finalize it, you have got an elliptical 3-coil 3x50-watt power flower subwoofer in the boot. Now, yes, indeed, the upgraded Vauxhall audio system does give you extra audio drivers within the cabin and, more importantly, a subwoofer, which I'll be touching upon how this does impact the overall sound frequency range in this review. Now, for you to tinker around with the audio drivers, you'll want to navigate via the infotainment system. And here, at least on the Vauxhall system, you have got the ability to change the ambiance sound, where I've selected all passengers. I've added 3 notches to treble, 1 notch to mid-range, left the bass and the central speaker adjustments untouched, and added 1 notch to subwoofer. Of course, these are my subjective opinions and also settings, but I do feel this gives me the best sort of audio reproduction, which again I'll be touching upon later down in this video. Now, for you to connect up to the infotainment system, you have got Bluetooth, although you've just got the SBC and AAC codecs to rely on. Thankfully, however, you have got Android Auto and Apple CarPlay, which are supported over a wireless and a wired transmission, the wired being the better out of the two because it gives you the utmost audio fidelity. Now, with that out of the way, I would like to talk about cabin noise, and here the objective measurements will be on your screen. What I'll say subjectively is this vehicle that is operating on the 20-inch alloys actually does do a pretty good job, and this is due to the fact that you have also got a soundproofed and heat-insulated windscreen that comes fitted as standard across the entire trim range. In comparison to the vast majority of its competitors, it goes toe-to-toe with them, although it isn't exactly class-leading in terms of giving you the utmost soundproofing. Nonetheless, when it came to doing my driving test, I only noticed a little bit of extra road noise while traversing at higher speeds and a little bit of wind deflecting off the A-pillars. Now, with all that out of the way, let's get onto an audio demo. I'll be placing the camera and microphone in 4 separate locations and playing back Priya J's track, which is titled Like Me. Now, I do appreciate an audio demo over YouTube is not going to give you a lifelike reproduction, but I thought to provide it as it gives you a bit of a taster. Now, in terms of my own subjective opinion, I've been actually left pretty impressed by the 10-speaker Vauxhall audio system, and it's certainly something that you might want to consider upgrading to in comparison to the entry-level GS and design trims. Now, let me explain. First off, in terms of the overall sub-bass tones, that Power Flower subwoofer, which is positioned in the boot, and yes, it's a rather ridiculous name, actually does do a pretty good job. Now make no mistake, it's not going to extend as low as some more premium subwoofers that are found out there on the market, but given the overall price tag and the fact you're also getting it as standard in the Ultimate trim, it certainly will suffice. Bass heads might actually want to adjust the subwoofer EQ via the infotainment system, and it's nice to see that you've got that dedicated control. As for the overall mid-bass impact, well, it's certainly there. It gives you plenty of precision as well, both at the front and rear of the cabin. The drivers that are found within the doors do a really good job in this department. However, the overall mid-range is slightly recessed and pushed back, and as a result you've got a little bit more of a V-shaped sound signature. Now, it's not too severe, however, and therefore you still do get decent vocal reproduction, but in comparison to yet again more premium alternatives out there on the market, it doesn't quite compete. Now you might be quick to say, why didn't you adjust the mid-range EQ even more? And the simple answer is that by adjusting that, you take away from the overall vocal accuracy. So I just had to accept that I had a bit more of a V-shaped and warmer sound signature, which kind of suited my needs given my overall music genre that I like listening to. Now, in terms of the overall high-end extension, it's certainly there, and that's thanks to the fact you have got those dedicated tweeters that are dotted around the cabin. Both at the front and rear, you'll have that toe-tapping feeling, and if you do adjust a few notches via the treble EQ, you'll get a little bit of that zingy nature without it sounding too harsh or sibilant. Now, what about when it comes to its overall soundstage reproduction? Well, it actually does do pretty well across the board, all while sounding a little bit closed off in comparison to some other audio systems out there on the market that have got even more audio drivers. Of course, in comparison to the stock 6-speaker setup, the 9 audio drivers that are dotted around the cabin, of course, reminder the 10th is the subwoofer, do give you a little bit of that extra dynamism and engagement. The overall width and depth just feels a little bit better, and so does the overall instrument separation. Now, what I'm trying to say over here and convey in this video is that the Vauxhall audio system is something that you might want to consider getting, and therefore looking at the Ultimate trim for its audio system alone, let alone some of the other goodies that you get, such as a panoramic roof, among a few others. Of course, this does take up its overall asking price, but if you're looking at the Grandland Electric, I do think it's a worthwhile consideration. Now, as a result of this, I can definitely see myself recommending the Vauxhall audio system, and it actually gets our Performance Audio Award. It's not quite Best Buy level because it's not exactly going to perform as well as some of the other audio systems out there on the market that do extraordinarily well across the sound frequency range, and is a bit of a better upgrade in comparison to some of the other stock systems that you'll find out there in rival vehicles. Now, I'd be curious to know what you make of the audio system down in the comment section below and how you feel it compares to some of its competitors. Now, if you've enjoyed this detailed independent review, definitely do consider dropping a like, subscribing and hitting that bell notification, all of which would be greatly appreciated. As such, I've been Chris from TotallyEV, and I'll hopefully see you in the next one. Take care of yourselves, and goodbye.